Hi babes, welcome to Hamilton's Halogen, and this is your friend, Carrie Hamilton. This is a place where darkness meets illumination and truth becomes your turning point. Just like a halogen light burns brighter and hotter to reveal darkness, this podcast is about bringing light into places that many avoid. If you've ever felt lost in the dark, this space is for you. It's time to stop surviving and start shining. Hey babes, happy Good Friday, and I hope that you are going to have an amazing Easter, and happy Easter as well. For those that celebrate Easter, I know there's different religions and nationalities and so forth that don't, but I'll be alone for Easter and probably taking down my Easter decorations and putting up Memorial Day decorations or something in that nature. My children will go to their fathers, so yeah. I posted something yesterday that was along the lines of, may people who actually want love, find love, or may the people that want that lead to those who do. And I had a couple people message me, and it brought me to thinking just so much about love in general. I feel that why I posted that is, going on a healing journey and really going and digging deep into my spirit and, why I'm here, what is my mission, what is my purpose, what is my soul reasoning for this experience. Like, maybe people do see it as surface level that, you were just here to be a mom or come, to make family or, but is that really just your purpose? Like, are you, what is your gift? Do you know your gift? Do you know your mission? If you don't, I suggest that maybe pray for that and see if you can be led to really fulfill your mission and purpose in this life, because there really is so much more than what we think. Because you see, our Creator, our God, our source, our goddess, whatever source you believe in, they don't have a budget. And I feel that people forget with abundance, there's so much abundance around you that you don't take advantage of or don't, seek out to feel. And it truly is a loss. And it's crazy because that one movie that comes into play is the one that says the phrase where everybody dies but not everybody lives, like Braveheart or whatever. And it's so true, because not everyone does live, but every single one of us do pass. And so putting that post out there about love, there's what I realized is in this journey is that we all want love. Love is the answer. Love is the key. Love is the final, part of that mission. And we are trained to seek everything external. We want to find a certain person and think that that's going to complete us. We want to find money because we're financially, strapped, and we feel like that's going to, complete our happiness and our love for ourselves. And we want to find a bigger home, or, having kids will complete me and make me feel loved. And sure, all of those things are great things, but they won't make you complete. And what I think people need to realize is that doing the internal work, that is how you will discover your purpose and your mission and your spirit, your soul, and what truly love is. Because every single one of us are different. We're all here for different reasons. We're all here for discovering that destiny. And there is love inside of each of us that is different, because it's held for the mission and purpose of why we're here. And so doing internal work, you discover that, you dig deep and you find out what you truly want. you take off all of that external shedding of all those subconscious thoughts that, you had to be Catholic because your parents made you, be Catholic. And then you realize, well, actually, I feel like I want to be Christian, like that church actually excites me more. You like the color blue because that was always what you were told, that, blue looked good on you. But then you start realizing, well, God, I like green, like the grass and everything that sprouts from, the greenness of everything is actually what makes me happy. And it's things like that you just have to discover internally and do that internal work. Otherwise, you will always look externally for love. And everything outside of you is temporary. So if you keep finding yourself jumping from person to person to person and finding just random things that excite you for just this time, this temporary time, you always have that missing void, and you will always be searching, because true love is an emotion, and the emotions are found inside, within you, not external. Every single one of us come from generations of trauma. For instance, if you're from around my age era, in the, right now you would be in your 50s, 40s, and probably early 30s, most of us have abandonment issues from a parent. And why I can say this is wholeheartedly with truth is because even if you didn't have a parent that physically left, another parent, we come from the era of where the father was always to be the hard worker and the mother were to stay home, in the traditional type family. And that father was always gone because he was always obviously providing for his family, and doing the work to provide. But that leaves abandonment issues because it was still one parent who was physically raising us children in the emotional level, the physical level, the spiritual level, why the father was absent. And sure, the dad came home every day and stayed at home and ate dinner with the family. He still wasn't there emotionally as a parent, and to be involved with all of the things that, the football games and the, big tests and the big, school project events that, the mom attended and things like that. So that still left abandonment. Those are all special milestones in one's life that both parents should be a part of, but we just weren't raised that way. We were in a generation where, like I said, the dad worked and the mom did all that. That was like her job. And then some have actual physical abandonment, like where their father was never around or mother was never around, obviously, as I've shared that for my own self. And now in this generation, so many are divorced and single family homes are so common now. So now this generation will have the survival trauma. They will have that one parent that was always in survival mode, hustling, making a paycheck, providing, doing the work of both parents. So now that leads to almost abandonment by both parents, because you have to work, you have to put food on the table, you have to, you can't attend everything. Sometimes even the grandparents are filling in for that type of stuff. So every generation will have trauma of some sort. And why I bring this up is because at the end of the day, to fix trauma and to, have surface level desires that we do to fix that is, by seeking love, by seeking something to fulfill the void that we carry from the generational trauma that we have. And now that this whole world is based on conveniency, so many have missed the commitment. We have our banking convenient, we have our shopping convenient, we have getting a car convenient, we have basically everything convenient. But one thing that will never, ever be convenient is love. And that's why so many are craving that love and missing that love, because we are all habitual people. And we place finding love in that conveniency now as well. And as I said before, love, external, is just a desire. And desires don't last forever. They only last for that temporary time until it gets old or until something else comes around or to whatever. And then that becomes a convenient instead of a commitment. And that's why we're in the world that we're in right now. And being in survival mode means that you're just constantly going. You don't know what rest is, and you can't enjoy life and find that true love within yourself. We end up confusing rest with being unproductive, and then being unproductive with being unworthy. But really, we're all worthy. We're all someone. We're all some of the one. And we all are so incredibly loved. And I hope that in this life you take the time to rest and discover that love inside yourself and feel that completeness, because there's only one person that can complete you, and that is you. Everything else external, everyone else, every relation, whether it's in an intimate or friend relation, anything that is external is to complement you, not to complete you. And that's where people get confused. And I'll end this video with this. Being a survivor, you are always on the go. You don't take time to think or even consider your own self because you are always in the go mode. Patience for me was never a virtue. I was just constantly hustling and moving, and I always was remembering my single mom and how much she just kept hustling and hustling and hustling. And so I never was one to think that things were handed to me, or if I didn't even feel that I was valued enough to be loved or have gifts or receive things unless I gave in return. Love for me was sacrificial. But love is anything but that. It's not a sacrifice. It's not conditional. It's unconditional. And so as I close this today, remember to rest and to gain patience, because patience really is the way of allowing God to do his work and to provide. Don't allow the habitual convenience and the fast fixes that we live through every single day to have a fast solution. Don't let that be the way that you find love, because it will never be permanent. It will always be temporary. And so I close with Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongdoings. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, and always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails.